we're not leaving Europe. So I urge you to be patient with what can happen. But we then have, of course, the German elections. And before I came here, I went and had a cup of coffee in a little restaurant around this that we will continue to support the enlargement. We'll need to have one, maybe two representatives from schools in the area, schools with which you have contact and for which you have a high regard. And then we put together a proposal. I will look at the proposal first, and then it will be submitted to the Board of Governors in London. And I'm hopeful that by the spring of next year, we will have agreement and we can officially open the English-speaking union here. I think it could be of real benefit. A word about the role of English at the moment in the world. English has become, if you like, the working language of the global village. I worked for 5 years in the European Commission, and when I arrived, I love France. I love France. I have a small place in France. But French was the langue de travail, the working language of the European institutions when I went. And I remember being told the first week I was there in the Commission that if I had a proposal that I wanted to make to the Commission itself, it would have to go to the chef de cabinets first, and if I wrote my paper in English, it would take 1 month for it to reach the Commission. If, however, I wrote the paper in French, it would be looked at in the same week. Now, that was pretty clear. And during the period that I was there, English gradually took over as the working language of the European institutions, which is what it is now. And East and Central Europe played a critical part in the expansion of the role of English institutionally in the European Union, because the negotiations for enlargement, and of course, as you know, you are seeking membership, eventual membership of the European Union, and I hope you succeed. And Albania is now, I think, candidate status, same thing. But those negotiations will take place in the English language. I will share an amusing little story with you. When I worked at the European Commission, I had to go to the appropriate committee of the Council of Ministers from time to time, and I had to make the case for my department's budget. And they have a very strange system, I have to say. Whatever country is in the presidency of the council has the chair, and they have chapters, and each of the chapters is a budget heading. So they sit there and they say, chapter 231, 2, 3, 4. And if anybody objects, you've got to put your hand up straight away, you see, and all sorts of explanations given. But I think behind everything else, there's a fundamental issue, and there always has been from the very, very beginning. I knew Jean Monnet very well. I made a documentary for BBC television about him. I stayed with him at Ujare, and I knew where he was coming from. And Jean Monnet always said to me that when they had the famous Messina conference and the beginning of the coal and steel community, he said, to be quite honest, Alan, I was very grateful that the British did not join, because if they had joined, they would have held up everything, they would have raised obstacles, it would not have been an easy marriage. What lies behind that? I tried to explain this some years ago to the German Social Democratic candidate, Mr. Schulze, who was at a conference in London, the Königswinter conference. And he got up and he made a speech in which he attacked the British. He said, you are reluctant Europeans, you are ungrateful Europeans, you just make difficulties, you're always complaining, and more and more in that vein. And I listened to about 5 minutes of this, and then I thought, well, I think I've had enough of this. So I got up and I replied to him, and I said, Mr. Schulze, you've got to understand that you all joined the European Union because of the Second World War. Germany joined because the Nazi state, and she was defeated. She had to become reconciled with France. France joined because she was occupied, and it just goes on. The original six were highly motivated by trying to ensure that the catastrophe, which was the Second World War, never reoccurred. And their motivation, therefore, was that, their principal motivation. Right, it was about economics, it was about French agriculture, it was about German industry. But the emotional guts of the thing, and Monet confirmed that to me many, many times, was actually the war and the prevention of war. Be contacted by the IRA. Well, I didn't. In 1946, and Churchill had a very clear view of
Western Balkans, but will it really, in reality, will it have any influence or not?
or indeed even in Europe.
Thank you very much for that. Now, about Brexit, in order to remain the European ally, is this a threat or is
It was when we were still shooting on 16mm film, see? And he'd been to Vietnam, and because I got halfway through and then plump, you know.
That this will continue our collaboration and in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.